Hi everyone, my name is Juliana Torres, and today I will be responding to our Week 7 discussion on Indigenous power, self-determination, and acts of reclamation. I will specifically be speaking more on the video from Dr. Haunani K. Trask's speech, as well as the Alcatraz video that we saw for this week. So for our first question, a quote that I chose from Dr. Haunani was the quote that from her video, from her speech in 1991, I believe. That quote I chose was, "The American dream for us has been a nightmare. We did not ask to be colonized." Now, the reason I chose this quote was because it really does challenge the idea of American expansion as if it was like a positive thing, because we've kind of been taught that it has always been a positive thing and that it brought a lot of opportunities for people and a lot of money as well. But in reality, you never think about, sometimes you don't think about how the native people were affected, and ultimately in this case the Hawaiian native people, how they were affected by this and that they still continue to be affected. And it just kind of shows that for them, like she states, it wasn't a dream, it was a nightmare, and it has been that way for many native and indigenous peoples. So I thought that was a very interesting quote. I also kind of resonated that with question 2 because the only really term or phrase I could find was that, and I felt like it kind of did open a new perspective for me, and it taught me that this American dream that we've so been taught for so long, it really isn't an American dream, and it's kind of just a nightmare. So that's what I chose. Then for question 3, I did students, organizers, and activists want to occupy Alcatraz in 1969. Describe some of their reasons. So it was a Native American activism. It was led by the students, the Native American students and activists. And I said that it was to bring attention to protests and for the Native American civil rights, because they wanted to bring attention to these rights that they obviously didn't have, that were being denied, and they wanted that back, and they wanted land back too. And that's something else I had learned, that they had wanted some land back, and which is why they decided to protest there and protest there, and try and like get more attention from the people, which they did achieve ultimately. And then for question 4, discuss some of your thoughts, feelings, reactions around the method of occupation as resistance or occupation as protest. What are some of the pros and cons of this type of protest, and can you name present-day examples? So I said that the method of occupation as resistance or a protest is a powerful and symbolic tactic that has been used countless times in histories, as we have seen, to bring recognition to injustices. I feel like it's a powerful way of resistance that brings attention to what is wrong. Some pros include it has direct action, so it brings a lot of attention, and it brings a lot of attention fast, which can ultimately help the protesters, right, to get what they want. And then some cons include they run the risk of sort of things escalating, for example, police violence or even violence within the protesters, that can sort of create a negative view around the actual protest itself, and then that can cause them to not get what they want. So it has its pros and cons for sure. So protesting can be, it needs to be approached in a specific way, and it needs to be done in the right way that is right for all people, so that nobody gets harmed. And in the video, for a modern day example, in the video I had seen that it spoke about a protest against pipeline construction in 2016. And I thought that was a very much modern day example, because they were protesting rights to land, and they wanted to stop environmental destruction right on this land to create, pipelines. And they wanted to preserve that land, and they wanted to assert those rights. But unfortunately, the Trump administration had went through with the construction. And then for question 5, what are some similarities between Indians of all tribes, the American Indian Movement, and the Black Panther Party? Now, what I said here was that the 3 of them I spoke directly on 2 of them, that the Black Panther Party and the Indian of all tribes, they took on direct action. For example, the Indian of all tribes, they did the Alcatraz movement, and they wanted to advocate for rights. I said that the Black Panther Party created the Free Breakfast for Children program, so they wanted to advocate in that way and sort of like say like, oh, to the government, like, oh, we're gonna provide for our people because you can't. And I think that the Indian of all tribes peoples as well did that by occupying Alcatraz. And they also were like teaching their children and trying to kind of create, I guess, like a little society. And then let's see, for question 6, I don't really have any other questions other than I think it's interesting going back to that quote that I had first read. It really did open my eyes because I felt like I thought that what is the American dream really? Has that dream that they established so long ago, is that still remain for the American people, and specifically, has it ever been for the indigenous peoples? So I thought that was pretty interesting. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thanks. Bye.